Bruce Hitchings at Kilts More, talking about my new Highland Reeds moisture tube. This new system is a very lightweight system, flexible tube, lies in the bottom of your bag. The first characteristic about this system is that it's very easy to fit. You can simply take off the connector, hemp this up in a normal manner, insert this into your bag. You need a zip bag, of course, for this system. Put this into your blowstock, the bottom of your blowstock, then you can connect into the O-rings, and then you have the system. At the end of the system you have a cartridge that comes in 2 bits. You take the connector off, and inside is a cloth. The most minimal thing you should have when you're playing your pipes is a tube of any description that takes the air from the blowpipe to the back of your bag. You want to take the warm air to the back. People talk about moisture systems, but really a moisture system is a heat exchanger. Your breath is 95, 96 degrees. What we need to do is try and get that temperature down so that the hot air going into your bag is colder and drier. Then when this air hits your drone reeds and goes up your drones, you don't get the same condensation and the same moisture. So pipers tend to talk about moisture. It's really heat and condensation. When you get condensation, you get moisture. Now, to create condensation or to reduce heat from your breath, it has to have some reflection or restriction. Every time you put air through a series of holes or against some restriction, you'll get condensation. So the secret of this particular system is that you have more variation on how much restriction to suit yourself. So the normal tube that you have, that would be in a normal bottle trap that many of you would be aware of, the open tube. This works in that it takes the air to the back of the bag. If, however, you have some restriction at the end of the tube, and in this case I have put it in a tube, and you blow through this, you'll see that this steams up. Might be slightly difficult to see here, but this steams up slightly because of the restriction. If I take the restriction out of the tube, blow, the air goes straight through, there's nothing restricting it, therefore you haven't cooled down any of the air, you haven't caused any condensation. So what we have to do is force the air through smaller holes, but if you've had too much restriction, it's uncomfortable. Your pipes become difficult to play. So in my moisture tube here, at the end I have a restriction. So I have the connector here and the hole inside there, roughly 1/2 inch diameter. This causes a restriction in the tube. First of all, create some condensation. On the connector joint we have a grill, and this grill goes on. This again causes some restriction, and you'll start to build up condensation and moisture within this tube. The cartridge itself has a series of small holes. These small holes will reduce the air, restrict the air coming out, and this will build up condensation inside the cartridge. Still not much restriction, but there will take a lot of moisture. You'll get condensation building up here and in here. Here I have a chamois cloth, and this cloth can be inserted in the bottom of the cartridge to absorb moisture when it is formed. However, the cloth is also breathable, so you can turn the cloth around and put it over the holes and put it in. This will take out a lot more of the hot air causing condensation, but for some people this might be too restrictive. It might just be, if you've got an easy pipe or you're not used to it, you might feel it restrictive. So you can then set the amount of restriction you want by shifting the cloth, cover half of the holes or all of the holes. The cloth is easy to take out and dry, put it on a heat source, or just open your zip and pull the whole thing off and just put that onto a heat source for a while once dry. The system does come with a spare cloth so that you can change the cloths.
You mentioned restriction. Obviously for a piper that's not a thing you want when you're playing the bagpipes. You want to avoid restriction, so maybe you can explain that a little bit better for us.
Yeah, I don't mean a restriction and restricting the air to your actual reeds or into your drone reeds or your chanter reeds. Probably a better word would be deflection or reflection. So for air to cool down, it has to hit something.
Right.
So if you go to the Venturi effect, which is from the car tyre, so if you have a car tyre and it's full of air, but when you push the valve you get cold wet air come out, very cold, very wet. That's because the air has been forced through a very small hole. So if I was just to have one hole at the end of my system, it wouldn't work, it would be too restricted, right?
Right.
So I have a series of holes, but because they're small holes, the air comes through, it's not too difficult to blow.
So the number of holes you basically balance for the amount of air you require.
That's correct. And then you can also cover the hole, so it's getting a balance between how much, because if you're blowing a very easy chanter reed, you might find that this is a bit restricted, that there's too much reflection, there's not enough air
with the cloth
over.
Right,
so you have a couple of choices,
right.
Quite easily to be resolved. You can even play it just like that, which still works, you know. So there's it's a fairly flexible system on how much you have.
Okay.
But obviously the more you can cover, the more moisture that will be taken out.
So no restriction.
No restriction.
Or not the amount of restriction we want that would be prohibitive.
I actually want the opposite. It's a very good point, Donald, because I want the opposite. I want your pipes to be easy to blow. They're going to be easy to blow. So I don't want something that's too restrictive. So a reflection would be, or defection would be better word.
Right. So you also offer the standard water bottle, I would call it, the bottle system. So what's the difference between this and your new cartridge?
Well, that's a good point too. So I mean, I've been making this for a long time. We supply this with a camo bag, or they come in other products but very similar. So the bottle trap basically is a juice bottle, plastic bottle. It's very lightweight. As I pointed out in the video, the very basic thing you should have is a tube going to the back of your bag, you know. So this is lightweight once again. However, a lot of people get confused and think that it is the cloth that is creating the moisture or taking the moisture, but it's really just the two small holes that are doing it. The cloth is only absorbing the condensation once it is created. So this system's there, but it's not as flexible. It's a juice bottle, whereas this system is purpose built, very easy.
It's more efficient.
More efficient, has more variety on how you can alter it and so forth. And it's smaller, lightweight.
So if you don't
it's an updated version.
Right. That would be for the zipper bags, like a Canmore bag. So what would you have for the leather bags then?
Well, we have it in a split stock form.
Okay.
So if you've got just a hide bag or a sheepskin bag, whatever, you can, traditional bag, exactly the same thing. So you can put your split stock in, it comes out, goes in, and then of course you can alter the end of it to how much reflection you want.
Good. Right. Thanks very much.